So I did a video last week talking about the University of Kentucky and how their basketball team really just dominated the transfer portal and assembled what I thought was an almost ideal class for them. And I talked about the shooting, the inside depth, and a lot of the pieces that they assembled. And Big Blue Nation, you showed me a lot of love. I really appreciate that. But I got a comment, or several comments, I guess, talking about two incoming freshmen that they were bringing in that people had a lot of faith in. Now, I hadn't really done a lot of research on those folks at that time, so I wanted to dig in and give you guys my insights on kind of, how I took that. So I came away super impressed. I think these guys are, pretty under the radar considering what Kentucky brought in from the transfer portal, but I think that both could really contribute right away. So let's start this whole thing off with Travis Perry. He's a bit of an undersized guard from the state of Kentucky. So, I mean, I'm sure you guys are all pretty familiar with him, but there's a lot just to love about his game. So he is very smooth with his handle. He's able to create space pretty reliably, but probably his biggest trademark and biggest calling card is he's a very quick release. It's very lightning quick and smooth and repeatable. So in a second, I'm going to roll a highlight clip of some of his shooting ability. It demonstrates some things that I think he's really strong at and areas that he's going to bring to the table that are going to maybe even elevate that floor of shooting for Kentucky just a little bit more. So as you're looking at that, I want you to pay attention to his feet first and foremost. So as a shooter, it's incredibly important to stay on balance, to make sure that you're finishing, not leaning more than you need to, or finding yourself where you're overcompensating with your shooting motion to compensate for that lack of balance. And for him, he's, constantly in the right spot with his feet. So he's going up straight. He's giving himself the right weight on his shot as he does that. So a ton to love about that aspect of his game. Let's go ahead and start looking at the clips. So, what I like most about Travis Perry's game overall and his ability to shoot it is that he can get to it from a variety of different ways. So, he's not reliant on just being a catch and shoot guy or an ISO guy who can get to the rim. Like, he is really a threat from any situation where he's even remotely close to the ball. So, you'll see as he comes down the court, if the defense does not stop him or stop his progress or put a hand up, the shot's going to fly and there's no real hesitation to it whatsoever. If he is just one-on-one in ISO, he has the ability to create space, which is also something I like. He has a very tight handle that translates to shooting the ball off the dribble quite well. He's also really comfortable just in a real pick and roll situation. So he reads the defense well as he's coming off of that screen. Like he's definitely trying to see what that help defender is doing and how they're trying to get him to move. And when I talk about balance, there's several clips in here where he's coming either to his left or his right, and he is able to keep his momentum from carrying him too far outside of his center of gravity and still lets him get up a good shot. And in that last clip, he plays off 2 feet very well. So, I mean, he comes to a complete stop, lets his defender blow by, gets up a clean look. So, again, as a shooter, I absolutely love what he's going to bring and the dynamic that he's going to add to that Kentucky offense. I think it's, ties in with the piece I did on the transfer portal. He's not going to be asked to carry too much of that load. He's not going to be asked to be the primary option or even a starting point guard. He's going to be relied on to come in and be a spark, be a consistent piece that really translates their offense over to a second unit, spells people when they get in foul trouble, and really can provide an extra element when needed from a shooting perspective. So, I really kind of compare his game to like a Tyler Kolek of Marquette, something along those vein where he could end up being that type of player down the road. Now, I don't have a film package on it, but I do also love, the fact that he, was able to share the ball from the assist package that I put together on him that I'm not going to use for this video. I think that he has a good court vision. He's able to kind of eat up space where he needs to, create passing lanes for himself and teammates. There's a lot to love there as well. But I want to move in now to the second player that was mentioned to me quite frequently, and that is Collin Chandler. So he has taken a couple years off of basketball at this point. He was doing his Mormon mission, which is a great thing for kids to do, to give back to the community and whatnot. But also, it's kind of a detriment to basketball when you haven't played in a couple years, and that can be a tough thing to overcome. But from what I've seen of him on film, there is also a lot to like there. He's a bigger bodied guard. I think he was like 6'4", 6'5", and he, had a reliable three-point shot, was playing high school basketball in Utah. It's kind of tough to translate sometimes. There's a lot of really good basketball being played there, but the overall athleticism of the game leaves something to be desired at times. Just a general statement there. But, good length, good defense, can finish athletically in traffic, can get to the rim, can do a lot of things that you like. And I think he profiles really well as a defensive player. As he can play both ends of the court, bring a lot to both sides of the table. So I really think that he's going to be a piece that is really an ultimate dark horse for this Kentucky team. Like there's, a high variance for what he might be able to provide. So if I were to try to project it out and say like, oh, this is how many minutes or points, I would have a hard time doing that. But again, the beauty of all of this for Kentucky fans and for Kentucky's as a basketball program is that you're not going to be in a position where you're relying on him to provide a ton. You're not going to be relying on him to come as a freshman and be a savior or be someone that the team is counting on to do a lot of things, because that's not going to be his role. I just don't envision that being his role with the amount of quality veteran talent that Kentucky basketball brought in last year. So that's my thoughts on both Travis Perry and Collin Chandler. I think they're both very quality additions. They augment everything I said about the transfer portal and more. They're going to provide a good amount to this team. And again, you're in a position to where you're going to take what you get from them and view it as gravy, because you've set yourself up, or Mark Pope has set himself up to really have a team where you don't have to rely on that. You don't have to rely on unknown, unproven commodities, but you'll take whatever you can get from them. So thank you guys again, Kentucky fans. Thank you for being a part of the channel, for receiving me well. I want to do some more of these breakdowns. I'll have some more video on these guys as I go through. But I appreciate you guys. Appreciate you being here. And as always, if you got something out of this video, give me a subscribe. I'll have more Kentucky basketball news as it goes through. But I've appreciated talking with you guys.